Hey everyone, welcome back to Mornings with Xander. Today I'm going to talk to you about Manny Khoshbin's Millionaire Mentorship Program. I'm sure a lot of you have seen his videos on YouTube. He's a self-made real estate millionaire. I think his net worth is something like $100 to $200 million. He has a great lifestyle with beautiful house, beautiful wife, and some beautiful cars as well. So I'm sure you've seen some of his videos online, but maybe you're trying to decide should you join his program or not. So I wanted to go through his program. I joined, I took a look at his program. I wanted to share my experience with you, tell you if it's worth it or not, and maybe a more cost-effective way to get access to his information, and also provide my feedback on what I thought about the course. So to give you some background about myself and how I found out about Manny Khoshbin's program, I was on YouTube and I've, a pretty big fan of Graham Stephan's channel, Meet Kevin's channel, and I'm also a fan of cars. And Manny Khoshbin, he does videos on both real estate and cars and lifestyle in the Los Angeles area. And so I stumbled across a couple of his videos, and it's hard not to watch because, the guy has some beautiful Bugattis, some Paganis. He definitely has excellent taste in cars. And he has an interesting story himself, and he's done a good job of marketing his life. And for me, Manny is definitely at a point in his life that's far and away ahead of me, and someone that I, would aspire to want to be like, at least to follow in his steps, have a semblance of success, have some supercars of my own. So I gave his videos a try, and I think he's a great speaker, a great storyteller. And so I thought, what the heck, let me try and join his mentorship program. For me, in my current position, I have great income. I have stock investments. I've done my own trading fairly successfully, but I'm getting to the point where I think it's prudent to diversify. And real estate is one of those things that I've always been really interested at looking at. I have a lot of friends and older people than me, and they've been able to build great income sources through property. And really, the information that's online on YouTube is accurate. What Meet Kevin tells you, what Graham Stephan tells you, what Manny Khoshbin tells you, the returns that they have, the cash flow that they have, those are all achievable through real estate. And so it's something that I'm very focused on, something that I'm very interested in. And so, Manny Khoshbin being one of those people that I watch on YouTube, I wanted to explore and see his personal take on it, view his course material, and see if it was helpful or not. So how much does this program cost, and how do you join it? Well, Manny has a bunch of videos on YouTube. You can go into the description of those videos and probably find a link to his program. You can also go on Google and just search Manny Khoshbin Millionaire Mentorship Program, and that's going to bring you to your typical sales funnel landing page. You can click through and purchase there. The cost of the program is $97 a month if you pay monthly, and if you pay annually, you get quite a bit of a discount. I think it might be even half the price of that or more. So there's a big discount if you buy annually. However, I'm going to make a case in this video that you probably are going to be able to get by with just buying the monthly program, unless you want to take advantage of the opportunity of asking Manny questions, which I think a lot of you may not, but I'm going to go into that a little bit later. So what comes with the program after you join? Well, the first thing that you get is you get access to 6 modules, which is his real estate investing course. Most of these modules are centered around real estate, its benefits, how to evaluate property to purchase. And he also has a few modules talking about your own personal finance, goal setting, and how to manage your expenses to achieve success in the future. He also gives you access to his Facebook group, where you can join all the other mentees, ask Manny questions, and also access some additional content that's not in the course. And the other feature that he offers is the weekly call, where Manny basically goes online live, and he, for about an hour, will answer questions that you have and also look and evaluate real estate deals that he's looking at or ones that you've suggested. So without giving away too much about the course, I wanted to talk briefly about what kind of information you get from the course, the depth of the course, and how it can guide you, and if I thought it was useful or not. So the first module that you're exposed to, there's 6 modules. The first module you're exposed to is called Mindset. And Mindset is basically getting you prepared mentally to achieve your goals of success. So it's about imagination, about visualization, about goal setting, about managing your personal expenses. And he does provide 1 or 2 spreadsheets to help you track and manage your expenses, as well as set goals for your income in the future. The second module is Intro to Real Estate. The third is How to Get Started in Real Estate. Fourth is timing is important, basically talking about market cycles and when you should start buying aggressively and when you should start exiting the market. So Manny's style of real estate investing is as an active investor. He'll actively buy and sell property to try and maximize his profits. His strategy is not buy and hold. The next module is how to avoid paying taxes. So there are a lot of tax benefits that go along with real estate property, depreciation, being able to defer your taxes through 1031 exchanges. Manny talks about it in this video. And then the process of buying. So what he looks for in properties, how he finds a good deal, the criteria that he uses to evaluate property. So those are the six core modules that Manny's course has currently as of 2020, end of June. And in each of these modules, he'll have basically anywhere from 3 to 7 videos talking about individual subtopics or filling in more detail on each of these modules. How useful did I find this material? Well, I thought it was interesting because I actually, before I bought this mentorship program, I purchased Manny's Contrarian Playbook. And the Contrarian Playbook is basically, a book that he had written a few years ago focused on his step-by-step process in buying real estate. And it talks a lot about, the same topics. So I would say, the modules that are presented in this mentorship program and a lot of the key ideas and criteria that are in his book overlap and are similar. I don't think that you necessarily need both. It is nice to be able to hear from the man himself and hear him explain things himself on video for the mentorship program, but the book is quite a bit cheaper. So, if you're on a budget, if you want to do this kind of on your own and you want to be able to reference it later, the book may be a better way. In terms of the modules themselves, and even Manny's book, he provides you with a game plan, a high level game plan on the major criteria that you should look at. But what he doesn't have, and what I felt like he was lacking a little bit of, are actual case studies. And without the case studies, you're learning the theory behind a lot of these decision criteria, and you're learning about the names for these potential tax advantages or business advantages, but it's hard to see how to use them in practice sometimes without being given these examples. So I've read some other books by other authors, stock trading books, part of my research, and the books that I like the best are the ones where they give you charts and graphs and present to you actual deals or trades that they've made, so that you can learn and apply their methodologies through their examples. So I think that is something that is lacking from both his book and the course on the mentorship program. That said, the content, especially if you're first starting to dig into real estate, does provide a great framework for how to look into real estate, how to evaluate real estate, and pull out the key search terms that you can use to then take to professionals in the industry to help you. So like 1031 exchange is a big keyword. Basically, that allows you to take your current portfolio and exchange it for another portfolio of real estate of equal or higher value without paying any capital gains on your first portfolio. So that's a huge tax advantage and a huge advantage of real estate. And with that term, you can take that to your accountant, you can take that to your realtor, and they're gonna know exactly what you're talking about. So although Manny doesn't go into a lot of detail necessarily on all of these things and outline it with as much detail as maybe I would have liked as a beginner, or provide super concrete examples, he does give you enough of a overview and enough of these major bullet points and keywords that you can then take and do further research in. So briefly, I had mentioned about his book. I actually purchased it on Kindle. Right now it's about just under $19 on Amazon.com, so it's very affordable. And I think if you are curious about Manny's strategy and how he invests, this is the cheapest, best bang for your buck look at how he looks at real estate and his suggestions. The mentorship program, as I mentioned, covers a lot of the same material. So this is a great first buy to decide maybe if you want to invest in the program or interact more with Manny. But this is a great way to just get access to his game plan in an affordable, convenient way. And just to give you an idea about how much content is actually in the mentorship program and in the book, I was able to complete both the book and the program each in about a day and a half without spending my whole day doing it, but just kind of sitting down and reading it. So the book is actually a pretty quick read. It's to the point, which actually I think is great. It's not full of filler. Every paragraph, every section matters and has a purpose and point. And on the videos, although I felt it was a little bit sparse compared to some of the other content that's out there on YouTube, it does follow the same structure where he'll outline the key major points and not necessarily go into a lot of detail there, but he keeps things moving and gives you this high level overview of what to look for and how to judge and invest in real estate. Okay, so in addition to the course material, you also have access to his Facebook group. So what is the Facebook group like? Is it useful? Have I found value from it? From what I can tell, every mentorship mentee is in that Facebook group, and there are a fair number of posts every week that show up. Some of these posts are from other members, asking about different properties to Manny and to the group in general, sharing interesting content. You also get Manny, posting in there as well. Overall, it's a good way to kind of reach these other people and see what they're thinking, but there's not a lot that's driving you to interact with other people. So it's really up to you if you want to be more active in that community. For me personally, after being part of this program for about a month, I didn't find a whole lot of use. I've scrolled through the posts, but primarily what I use the Facebook group for is a way to access Manny's pre-recorded 1-hour call sessions that he's done kind of in the past. Because when you join, you basically have access to that Facebook group, and you have access to all of his previous calls that he's made, that he's uploaded on that Facebook group from the day that you join, right? So you won't have access to future content, but you'll have access to previous content as well. So in that way, kind of the later you join, the more access to content you're gonna have from him, because he's just gonna have done more of these weekly calls, and you're gonna be able to access them through the Facebook group. And from what I can tell, Manny does answer some questions personally on the Facebook group. He's not super active, he's not always posting every day, but I have seen him specifically answer some questions from people that have asked on the Facebook group. So last part of the program that you have access to are his weekly calls. And the format of this is that Manny will basically, sit at his desk every Tuesday morning, and he will turn on the camera and for 1 hour go through examples of real estate property or answer questions. I think when he first started, he was more in the Q&A. It was a little bit more fluid, or he had like a specific topic to talk about. But now what I've seen as of June 2020 is that he's looking more at case studies, looking more at actual properties, property listings, and talking about if it's a good deal or not, or he's going over a deal that he's currently involved in. And I think that this is great. Like I said before, I think in his book and in his course material, he offers a great high-level overview. But with that high-level overview, it's still hard for a beginner to know how to practically apply all his methodologies. And through the weekly calls, you are able to see the way that his mind thinks and how he looks at real estate and decides to invest or not invest. So I think that the weekly calls are actually a great component of getting you this real estate education and getting you on your way to learning how to invest in real estate. That said, there is a problem with the weekly calls still. And that is that in the Contrarian Playbook and in Manny's own course material, he advocates that beginners, don't go into commercial real estate yet, because commercial real estate is kind of an advanced topic. It's a more difficult process, it's riskier. And he basically suggests that most beginners start with residential real estate. That I tend to agree with. The issue is, on the weekly calls, Manny is almost always exclusively looking at commercial real estate. He's not really looking at residential real estate. So, you take his methodologies, you want to apply them, he'll apply them to commercial real estate deals that he's looking at, not necessarily residential real estate. So, again, you're kind of left with, okay, I have these, points that I have to look out for Manny himself, but then how do I practically apply them to residential real estate, where probably the majority of you, and including me, are looking at investment properties and opportunities right now. Okay, so what's the verdict on this course? Should you or should you not spend the $97 a month or buy the annual plan? Well, I would say, there's not that much content in the courses themselves, and there is, the Contrarian Playbook book, which I think is actually better value if you just want to get to the core ideas and tenets of what Manny does to invest. A lot of the same themes in that book are the same themes and topics that are in the mentorship program. I think the only module that is really missing is in the mentorship program. He has the first module talking a little bit more about your personal finances, how to set goals, how to manage your expenses. But to be honest, for that module, there's a lot of information out there already from other great YouTubers, and it's not that different. If you go on to YouTube and you search about vision board or envisioning, your future life. There are a ton of videos about that. For personal expenses, the short answer is to, open a Mint account, but basically track your monthly expenses. And for income, what you're doing is you're looking at your current income source, and then you are also adding in some reasonable amount of interest, compounded interest to get you to your goals, right? So you can see if you need to bump your income by, getting another job, or, looking at better investment opportunities, etc. So a lot of the material out there is not necessarily groundbreaking. And I know a lot of you, and me included, when you get access to these mentorship programs or you hear about them, you're always looking for what's the secret? What's the secret sauce? How can I replicate everything that Manny's done in a short amount of time? And the answer to that is, there's no secret in most of these cases, right? It's all through hard work. If you look at Manny's personal life and story, he had to go through a lot of pain, a lot of years of experience to get to the level where he is now. So you're not going to be able to join the program, unfortunately, or read his book and be propelled to success. But that said, I think the framework that he provides you is still a good framework, and it's still going to help guide you towards making a better decision and limit some of the risk. But the 90% of the effort, 80% of the effort, you're still going to have to put in yourself, and you're still going to have to experiment and through trial and error come up with your own strategy that works for you. So this isn't a magic bullet or secret sauce type of thing that you're purchasing that's going to propel you to success overnight, unfortunately. So essentially, the content in the book, Contrarian Playbook, and the program offer the same educational content. So what you're really paying for in the mentorship program is the weekly calls, right? Or the interaction in the Facebook group. Those are the two things that you cannot get from the book. And on that, side, I would say that you have to then look at, is the content that you're going to get from those weekly calls applicable to your current situation? And as I had mentioned previously, Manny focuses mainly on commercial properties right now. And, although you can still learn from that, it doesn't help you if you're looking at residential property. You can still kind of get a peek into his mindset, but I think, for me, if I'm interested in residential property, I need to look at examples based on residential property. So hopefully Manny will change this going forward, or he's going to do more of a balanced approach. Look at some residential property to help his beginners, and then continue to look at commercial property for his intermediate fellows. But I think that is a key point where these weekly calls, they are useful and they're nice content-wise, but they may not help you if you're looking at residential real estate. The other big thing, and I think that this is the X factor, right, is can you make adequate use of the Facebook group and these weekly calls to engage with Manny? So I think that's where you can justify a monthly fee for the program, and even the annual fee for the program. If you are, someone that's very active in the Facebook group, if you're someone that's very active in his weekly calls, and you're always asking questions, I think there's a high probability that Manny will answer your questions. So then it's up to you to ask meaningful questions to get that value back. And Manny has gone through properties that people have suggested him to take a look at. So there have been one or two calls where he will, quickly bring up the real estate literature, basically, the financials on a property, look at it, look at the location, and say, should you or should you not invest it? But that said, when he does that kind of overview, he's really only spending 5 to 10 minutes looking at it. So, you have to kind of decide if that's, worth the monthly fee for you. I think for me personally, at this current stage in the mentorship program, I will probably finish paying for the end of this month and then cut the membership for now, just because I've already, watched a lot of his content, watched a lot of his previous recordings, and to continue the membership, which basically gives me access to, 4 additional videos every month, just isn't worth it for $100 a month in my eyes. Maybe if Manny changes his program and is talking more about residential real estate, I think that would be something that I would consider to keep. But for me, for the incremental access to his content that I can get for that amount of money, I think it's just not that useful. I think for me, what I would do is, take that monthly fee, and I would, save a couple months and then go and purchase the courses from maybe Meet Kevin or Graham Stephan or someone else, and get their perspective and look at what they think and their investment strategies, and then from there build kind of a global idea of what people are doing to make money in real estate, and then design my own strategy after having input from all of these gurus out there. So at the end of the day, my suggestion to you is to first pick up his book for $20. I think it's like less than $19 on Amazon right now. So pick up the Contrarian Playbook by Manny Khoshbin on Amazon. It's going to cost you $20. You can read through it in about a day, see if his ideas resonate with you, see if you actually want to start on your real estate journey. And then if you want to access these case studies on commercial real estate, then consider buying the program. But then even for the program, maybe just buy the first month and then cancel after the first month, because that's going to give you access to all the course material. It's going to give you access to all of his current weekly calls and previous weekly calls. And in the future, if you want to resubscribe and pay that fee, you can. You can. It's going to cost you a little bit more money than if you had bought the annual fee, but it's probably going to save you some money in the long run. So how would I improve Manny Khoshbin's course and basically make it so that I would feel comfortable and feel like I'm getting value out of paying every month for this service? I think firstly and mainly, he should focus a little bit more on residential real estate. As he mentions himself, when he first started out, he's looking at residential real estate, and he recommends that beginners also look at residential real estate. And I think that's great, and it makes sense, but it's kind of a letdown when a lot of his weekly calls are focused all on commercial real estate. For me, as someone starting out, I really want to see how he thinks and evaluates residential real estate, something that I can apply today and now. And I think the other great bonus of these weekly calls is that it is timely information, meaning he's talking about and looking at properties and deals that exist today in these different submarkets, meaning these different states or cities where there are good opportunities today. So that could help you make a good decision. Instead of buying in, I don't know, San Francisco or Los Angeles, maybe you're going to buy in Florida or Austin, Texas, based on his recommendation. And I think that provides a lot of value. And then if he brings that up, if he gives you more of a real-time market update on where the opportunities are, and then brings what a good deal looks like to you, then you can use that timely information plus that case study to make a great investment decision. And I think ultimately that's what's important. Manny's pushing you to bite the bullet and purchase your first piece of real estate, investment real estate, but you're still missing those one or two pieces of information that's going to get you to making that first purchase, right? So you understand the high level concepts, you understand the tax benefits, you decide you want to buy real estate, but then you have to decide, is now the right time? What city or state should you buy in? And then what city or, what opportunities are there in that city or state that make up a good opportunity right now? And I think if Manny can provide that to us, then I think the service is very worth it. And what you're paying for then is you're paying for his real-time expertise that you can apply. And I think that makes a world of difference for someone that's new and a beginner, and something that I would really like to see from Manny Khoshbin's program, and something that would keep me as a subscriber with him. As it is right now, he'll talk generally about his investment portfolio, what he's doing, and kind of where he sees the overall US real estate market. But he's not dissecting and analyzing individual opportunities in these different cities. And as I've said, Manny's investment thesis is very different than the majority of us joining his program. Manny has a large net worth, he has a large capital base. I think he probably manages property for other people and maybe has outside investors. That I don't know, I can't confirm. But he's basically playing at a different level than us. And he's an active investor, right? So his methodology, the way that he finds real estate and does his deals, are going to be different than the way that we do it. And if he can, take a step back and model what we should be doing in our shoes, I think that's much more applicable. Or if you are a more advanced investor, you already have that capital base, and you can do the same thing that Manny can in terms of money and you have some of that expertise, then you can try and emulate what he's doing. But then I think if you're at Manny's level, I don't know if it makes sense for you to watch his videos necessarily either then, because it probably means that you got there by already having your own playbook. And if that's been working for you, then it doesn't necessarily make sense to jump strategy. All right, that's all from me today. I hope that this helps you make a decision on if you should purchase this program or not from Manny. I'm going to create more content talking about personal finances and my journey towards my ultimate goals. And I hope to put those videos online to share them with you and hopefully help a few of you out. But I would love to hear from you, what type of content you'd like me to do in the future, what you found useful, what you agree with, what you disagree with. This is just the beginning for me on YouTube. I hope to see more of you guys. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye.